Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, Tomcat Stitchery. I'm Whitney, and today I'm here with part one of our Work From Home Module Sew Along, or WFH Module Sew Along. Put the hashtag here. So yeah, we're going to start off with our our sewing challenge, just a way to plan and execute some autumn or spring, depending on the hemisphere you're in, sewing. Since I posted the announcement video last week, I've had a couple of people reach out to me that are running challenges as well in the sewing community that I think would be an absolute perfect fit for this if you are interested. And the first one is My Body Model. And if you're not familiar with My Body Model, they are a company that does personalized croquis or like templates that you can draw on. And actually she gifted me one and I have been playing with it, and you're gonna see it coming up in my plans video, which is in a few weeks. But oh my gosh, it is so much fun. And you don't even have to be able to draw, because I can't draw. You don't have to be able to draw. But yeah, you put in a whole bunch of measurements and all that kind of stuff, and it's fantastic. I'm gonna leave a link down to her Instagram down below, but definitely take a look at that. There's some amazing things that are out there, and a lot of seamstresses use the model and, you know, have their own like personalized person basically to draw on. It's pretty amazing. But she is going to be starting in let's see, on September 13th through the 23rd. It's just 10 days, but it's a hashtag My Body Model 3x3, which is just drawing out and sketching some of your plans, which would be 9 garments. Anyway, it looks like a lot of fun, and obviously it goes along with this just perfectly. And then the other one, okay, and then the second challenge that was brought to my attention is the Sewing from Scratch 2019, which is Kate. She's got this, oh gosh, I want to get the instructions correct. But she has got a challenge that she's run, I'm not sure how many years, but it is hashtag Shelf Sewing September. And it's basically, the gist of it is, for the whole month of September, you only use materials you have on hand for 1 month. And then she's going to share prompts throughout the entire month to kind of help you get started and engaged. And then you just share on your grid and stories and use the Shelf Sewing September to enter all the giveaways. And she has got some fantastic sponsors that she has already got lined up. And I'm actually going to be talking more about that tomorrow, next week. So definitely stay tuned for next week, because we're going to be talking more about fabric and colors next week. So this actually goes along fantastic. So it might be another fun added challenge to just use things from your stash as well. And if so, yeah, you could definitely do this challenge as well, which is so sustainable and so wonderful. So Kate reached out to me about that, and yeah, we're going to kind of talk about each other's challenges on each other's channels. She also has a YouTube channel. I will leave all of it linked below. The description box again is right underneath my video. You'll see the title of the video, and right below that you'll see maybe a couple lines of writing. And then to the right, it'll either be an arrow that you need to click that'll drop all of it down, or it'll say show more, and you click that and it'll drop everything down. But links to everything are down there. Okay, so I just wanted to highlight both of those challenges because I think that they would go along really well with what we're doing here with our module Sew Along, and yeah, might be kind of fun to see what other people are doing, and to give yourself a little bit added, an added challenge, you know, as you're going along. Okay, so today we are talking about silhouettes and patterns. So I have a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, who is a seamstress and has gone through her entire wardrobe and is just really trying to, I think COVID, you know, a lot of us trying to like find our style, and like, you know, has it needed to have a rehaul for a while? You know, has my lifestyle changed now? You know, whatever, a lot of things I think that this pandemic has definitely brought to light. But she's decided to participate in the challenge, and I mean, she's one of the most proficient, amazing seamstresses that I know, and she was overwhelmed just by the wardrobe planning processes. So I thought for this work from home module, because the whole idea is for it to be casual, laid back, you know, this new slowed down life that we're all somewhat enjoying, or trying to, maybe one of the good parts that have come out of the pandemic. But I thought, so with that in mind, I am really going to break down the steps of module planning for you guys. Now, I have a ton of stuff in my wardrobe that is still, I'm going to be wearing this fall, that I've made in previous falls where I've thrifted and that kind of thing. But I'm only going to do one module with you guys this time. Back in the spring, I did 3 modules and showed you how those all go together. This time, I'm only going to be making one module. Now, is this all the fall sewing I'm doing? Absolutely not. I had a hard time narrowing it down, but I just wanted to keep this very simple because you start with one building block. So it's one module, 6 pieces, and then from there, you can add a second one. And actually, as your closet starts to fill up with things that go together color-wise or silhouette-wise, and you start to curate a closet that is just full of things that you absolutely love, it gets to a point where modules almost build themselves, in all honesty. So I thought for this challenge, I'm just gonna focus on, it's actually 7 pieces because I'm gonna throw 1 piece in there. Focus on just 7 pieces for mine, just to really break it down and to help if any of you are feeling overwhelmed by that prospect. Now, you do not have to make all 7 of these pieces. I've said it before, we're very relaxed around here. If you have things in your wardrobe that you've made previously that you really love, or things that you've thrifted, or even things that you just bought that's something that you just love, definitely, like it's all about, the whole point in module planning is not only to keep your closet streamlined and easy to access and just to have a very cohesive wardrobe, but it's also about sustainability and having things, if everything in your closet is something that you love, there's no waste. You're wearing everything has a purpose. Even if you do have a larger closet, as long as you're wearing everything and getting joy out of all of those things, I think that that is much more sustainable than just making things willy-nilly or shopping willy-nilly or whatever. So yeah, if you've got anything already in your closet, then of course, definitely include it in your 7 pieces. There is no rule that you have to make everything. Obviously, it is fun to sew for ourselves and definitely to start from scratch on things, but don't feel like you have to. So that's rule number 1. But I thought just by showing you just the basic building blocks and starting with just one module, you can have quite a few outfits, and then it's just a gradual building off of those. And we'll talk more about colors and fabric next week, but sometimes even picking a color palette can seem restrictive a little bit, and it doesn't have to be. You can still add in every color of the rainbow if you want, just doing it in different sections, so that way you don't end up with a purple pair of pants that you have nothing to wear with, you know? So if you've made those purple pair of pants in a module of its own, at least you've got 3 tops that you can wear with those purple pair of pants. And I think that then from there, you know, then you can add, you know, other things. So, anyway, that is kind of my plan going forward. I'm going to be doing some sketching on my body model croquis as well. Again, I'll show you guys that when we get into my actual plans week. I do have my tablet down here in my lap so that I can see what I'm going to be popping up on the screen for you guys to see. Okay, silhouettes. Now, I've talked a little bit about it before, but I have been on a year-long journey almost to determine my Kibbe body type. Now, Kibbe is David Kibbe. He wrote a book, Metamorphosis, back in the 80s, and it basically broke body styles down into 13 categories. And this goes beyond, you know, I'm an inverted triangle, I'm a triangle, or I'm an apple, I'm a pear, I'm a whatever. Whatever all of them break up into. It has more to do with the differences between the yin and the yang, which are the masculine and the feminine, and how they counteract in your body. So sharper angles being the more masculine side, and then your softer, curvier angles being more of the feminine side. And I think it's yin. Yin is the feminine, yang is the masculine. Yes. And then of course you can range the gamut, you know, all the way through all of those. So if you're not familiar with any of the Kibbe, there's a lot of online quizzes you can take to determine your own body shape or your own Kibbe category, whatever. So definitely just Google it, actually. You can find a ton of stuff. But I have determined that I am a soft classic, which means I'm pretty much, classic is right in the middle of the road between the yin and the yang. Now, soft classic is a subcategory of classic, and it goes a little bit more to the more feminine, because I obviously have a little bit more rounded features. You know, my nose, my eyes, my cheeks, I have fuller lips, I'm a curvier body. That all goes just a little bit more to the feminine. So with that in mind, and actually it's not a stretch, I'm drawn to that kind of clothing anyway. So it's a very classic silhouettes that goes just a little bit softer. And actually next week you're gonna see when we're talking about fabric and colors, I'm gonna be playing around with texture a lot this fall. So I'm very excited about that. But that kind of, you know, some softer textures and that kind of thing to help evoke a little bit more softness in my wardrobe. You know, a little bit drapier things, that kind of stuff, but still have some tailored menswear, more classic stuff as well. So there's a nice little mix in there. Okay, so what I like to do is I will go to both Pinterest and I have pinpointed a few stores that I just really like. Now, these don't have to be stores that I find affordable. In fact, that's kind of the fun. What are the most ridiculously priced stores I can find? And I basically window shop, put things onto a Pinterest board. And actually all of these images are on my fall 2020 Pinterest board. And I will leave a link down to that board below so you can go to the original source of all of these images. But, and also there's a ton more stuff on that board if you guys want to go take a look. If this is, if you have a similar style or want to see what I'm just randomly pinning. And I literally put anything that catches my eye. And then I later go back and kind of go through with a fine-tooth comb, weed out things that I'm like, I'm not really sure what grabbed me, or even just analyze, like, why did I like this picture? What about this picture made me want to grab it? But yeah, I do use Pinterest for that. Now, what I really enjoy Pinterest and Google Images for is if you have something in your closet already that you really love, like that purple pair of pants, for instance, and you're wanting to make some stuff to go with it, but you're not sure, you know, the style of pant, you know, what would look good. If you put in, you know, let's say they're a pair of purple corduroy pants, I don't know, a skinny pair of purple corduroy pants. If you put in purple corduroy, skinny purple corduroy pant outfit into Pinterest, you can find a whole bunch of images of that. Same thing with Google Images. Then you can systematically go through and see if anything catches your eye or find new ways that you can style those purple pair of pants. One of the things that I had been looking for, I have a leopard midi skirt, and so I had put that into the search and came up with a whole bunch of new ideas of ways that I can style that midi skirt. And the same thing with the joggers, the woven joggers, when I did the video on the work from home essentials. Same thing, I just went on and looked at joggers. I put woven joggers outfit, and you'll pull up a whole bunch of different images. That's a great way to search for things without getting too overwhelmed. Okay, so let's talk about some of the silhouettes. Now, I did do the video, like I just mentioned, the work from home essential pieces for the wardrobe, and I am pulling things off of that list. Not everything, but again, I'll probably end up making, like I said, a few more. So my Sew the Looks that you'll be seeing in the fall will probably be pulling a lot of those pieces off my Pinterest board as well, or different shops that I've been window shopping. But the first thing I knew I wanted to add, since I decided to pare this down to just one module that I'm sewing, and actually a lot of things on that list of essential work from home pieces I already have in my closet, so I'll be pulling them out and putting them into my fall wardrobe, but yeah, I'm just not going to be making them for this 7-piece. I keep saying 6, it's actually 7. And actually, really quickly, let's go over what those 7 pieces are. Number 1, it's a topper, and this means anything that you can layer. So a blazer, a jacket, a cardigan, a vest, a poncho, a cape, anything that you wear as a layering piece, just to kind of help mix things up and change up outfits, or also just to be there for an extra layer as well. And then it consists of 2 bottoms, which can be a skirt, shorts, pants, whatever you want to throw there that goes on the bottom half of your body, and then 3 tops. And the idea is that all 3 tops go with both pairs of pants, and that you could wear that layering or that topper piece over all of that as well. So with those 6 pieces, you have 12 outfits that you can wear. So I like to add, because that's very separates geared, and I do wear a lot of separates, but I also like to wear one pieces occasionally, like a jumpsuit dress, that kind of thing. So I like to add a 7th piece in, just to give myself even a little bit more, and to also infuse my closet with some more dresses and jumpsuits or overalls or boiler suits or whatever. So that's why I've added a 7th piece, and I typically do add that 7 pieces. So those are the pieces that we're talking about. So I knew for this one, I really wanted to put in a pair of trousers and a skirt. So I really kind of thought about, what do I really want in my wardrobe? I have plenty of jeans right now. I've got plenty of like comfortable pull-on pants. I do have like my leopard midi I just mentioned, and a couple of other knit skirts that I have for the fall. So I really got to thinking about what I would really like to add, and I looked through my Pinterest boards and noticed that I had a lot of button-down skirts that seemed to be popping up a lot. And I had mentioned in the work from home pieces video about turning the Closet Case Patterns Fior skirt because it has a button-down option, and making that winterized or fall wise. So because I do have a lot of those. Well, actually, we'll talk more about patterns here in a little bit. But I decided I wanted to add a pair of wool trousers because I really want to get away from wearing jeans so much. That just seems to be like a crutch a little bit. I will still wear jeans. I'll always wear jeans. But just to kind of get away from it a little bit. So I decided a pair of wool trousers and a wool skirt were two things that I wanted to add to my modules. I wanted those to be my two bottoms of choice. Both with comfortable, options, because we are talking about a work from home wardrobe. For my topper, I definitely wanted a cardigan because I actually need those in my home just for warmth. My basement sewing studio down here does get cold. But if I'm running out and, running an errand, I still want to look put together and chic. So I definitely wanted a cardigan for my topper. And then for my tops, I decided to go with things I didn't currently have in my wardrobe. So I just did t-shirt week back in March. Almost all of those t-shirts can go into this module. In fact, I've pulled a lot of them out because I've been playing with colors and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to stay away from t-shirts because I do have a ton of those in my wardrobe. So I decided to add in a turtleneck, and I have a ton of turtlenecks in my wardrobe as well, but I wanted to add in a loose turtleneck because I do not have an oversized turtleneck in my wardrobe, and you'll see here in a second some of the images why. And then I decided 2 woven blouses were going to be perfect, just to kind of fancy things up just a little bit, because again, I do have a ton of knit tops already that can definitely be easily worn and dressed up and down with my wardrobe. So that was kind of my thinking and my plans. Now, I'm going to start showing you some inspiration on how I kind of came up with those silhouettes. So when I started searching for, I think A-line skirts or button-down skirts, we'll start there, I came up with a lot of images that I really loved. I have followed quite a few different style YouTubers, and I love to hear the fashion trends reports. Now, again, I'm a classic. I tend to go mostly towards classics. My style doesn't change that much, but I do like to play with trends a little bit. I don't want things to get dull and boring. I want to infuse a little bit of fun into my wardrobe as well. So I do like to follow trends, if for nothing else, to determine if there's anything that I might like to try out. And one trend that I noticed is coming up for the fall is kind of an equestrian style. It was a little more cowgirl, I think, last fall, but an equestrian style. So you're seeing a lot of tall boot, like knee-high boots, and tucked into jeans again. Or jeans tucked into the boots again. And I just really, it also gives like a nod to the 70s with a good block heel. I really like that look. I'm really feeling that look, and I think that can very easily go classic. I mean, equestrian, like that definitely evokes a very classic aesthetic. So some of the images I'll pull, I definitely noticed, A-line skirts, and I love an A-line skirt on me. It gives me a little bit more hip, which is what I usually need to help me balance out my chest and also make my waist look a little bit smaller. But all of the skirts that I pulled, one thing that I noticed, I mean, you'll see that there's a lot of people wearing turtlenecks in all of these, and again, I have tight-fitting turtlenecks in my wardrobe, but I loved the monochromatic. Now, not all of these are monochromatic, but I loved the dressing in similar colors from head to toe. And we'll again talk a little bit more about that next week when we talk with colors. But I also loved, I mean, everything that I've pulled is something that's tucked in. They are all paired with tall boots, except I think maybe the longer maxi skirt, which I think I would shorten to midi. But I loved that in the plaid. I think that that one is gorgeous. But yes, the looser tops as well as a more fitted blouse, which goes a little bit more classic. I love that with a fuller A-line skirt. And those A-line skirts, or maybe a little bit fuller than an A-line, are so comfortable to wear around the house and can be extremely, extremely warm. So depending on what you're layering underneath it, and I will definitely line a wool skirt, it can be very warm with a nice thick tight. So that you know, or wear bare-legged until it gets to the point where you need to add a thicker opaque tight. So that was a pretty easy one of what I wanted to, a silhouette that I really wanted to embrace this fall. And again, I mentioned I really wanted to try the Closet Core Patterns Fior skirt. I already own that pattern. And so I thought that it might be kind of fun to play around with that for fall. So that's definitely the way that they have it styled on their website, and what you've seen mostly, it's in linen, and it looks beautiful in linens and cottons and makes a great summer skirt. But I really wanted to take it up a notch and make it into a fall and winter skirt. So that's what I'm going to be doing. And again, we'll talk more about plans a little bit, but that was the pattern that kind of struck out to me that kind of fit that silhouette. Next up is trousers. I had pulled a ton of different inspiration of trousers, basically. I will show you, again, we go with more of the monochromatic look here. I love the camel on camel, and I think it might be fun to play with different shades of brown. We'll talk about that more next week. But I just love a good trouser with a tucked in shirt. I also loved, you know, the little half tuck, so with more oversized tops. I love the look of just tucking a little bit in, so you get a little bit of an, you know, see a little bit of the waist and a little bit of the shape, but it still be very comfortable and oversized. Yes, I also, let's see what else. I also loved, I'm just very drawn. I love the pleats. I love kind of the 80s / early 90s style pant that's kind of coming back in, where it sits at your natural waist. Very classic, kind of a pegged leg. That is definitely a silhouette I'm interested in this year, because I think that that helps make my hips look a little bit bigger, which is something I want because I'm very straight through my hips. Let's see, what else can I talk about on that one? Yeah, and I'll show this of the girl kind of curled up on the chair here. I love kind of the Audrey Hepburn vibe that's there with the little ballet flats. Now, I don't have any ballet flat plans in my wardrobe, but I do have a pair of Oxford shoes that I could definitely see me wearing, and I have some driving moccasins, and I'm going to be adding 2 new pairs of shoes to my fall, three new pairs of shoes to my fall wardrobe this year, and we'll talk about that more in a separate video as well as we go on. So that was kind of my pick, and I decided I think I want to try the Untitled Thoughts Chandler pants. I just think they look so classic from the front. I love the pleats. They have pockets. She has them cuffed in one of these pictures. They sit at the natural waist, but they have elastic in the back, and they have belt loops. I'm pretty sure they have belt loops. But I love that as well. Yes, they have belt loops, where you can make them a little more look, you know, even though there's elastic in the back, they look a little less like an elastic waist pant. Now, I think I'll need to use a thinner wool, a suiting weight wool. Actually, I have a wool crepe I think I might be going with, and I think I might try and line these as well, if I can find a lining that does not make it too bulky in the back, because again, it does have gathering in the back because of the elastic, and I don't want things to get too bulky. So I'm going to determine whether or not those are going to get lined or not. And how I kind of want to go about doing that. But yeah, I want to try that pattern out. It looks kind of like it's going to fit the bill of what I'm wanting. Okay, let's talk about toppers real quick. So I really wanted an oversized cardigan, and I have made before the Style Art Como cardigan, but it's in kind of a fun tie-dyed fabric. So I thought having one in more of a muted solid color would be really serving in my wardrobe. Number one, it has a nice big sleeve, so it goes over some of the statement sleeves that we're seeing right now. You know, the Blackwood cardigan, which I also love, I've got a couple of those. I've got a couple of Dion Dusters, the Soldier style, but they've got a skinnier arm, which is lovely, and I think that that's a fantastic look. It just can only go over like t-shirts, really, or tanks and that kind of thing. So I'll pop a few pictures of kind of what made me want to go basically everything, and this is going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek that I'm really wanting to do overalls for my one piece, but I just love it paired over, and it's really easy to throw on, nice and slouchy. It's got the pattern has nice deep pockets, but I just love the look, and I really love the whole monochromatic look again, which I'll probably be going for. But yeah, hopefully I'm just showing you some different images of the jackets, and it can kind of go, you know, look a little bit more coatigan-ish. Because I love that look too, but I'm not necessarily gonna wear a coatigan around my house. Maybe. But for the most part, I thought a coatigan or a cardigan would be better for more of the at-home stuff that I'm doing. Okay, and then when it came with tops, when I was looking at all these bottoms, I tend to go from bottoms and then we'll kind of figure out what tops I like to go instead of the other way around. I don't know why, I'm just more drawn to bottoms, I guess. But one thing I noticed was oversized. Now, I love a good oversized turtleneck. I would love to have one in a cashmere and add that to my wardrobe at some point. But for now, I'm actually going to, there's a ton of these posts that I pinned or that I'm showing you that are more of an oversized kind of a sweatshirty turtleneck. And Tessuti has a free pattern, which is the Monroe turtleneck, and I actually have it and already have it printed out. It's in a big pile of copy shop files that I've got printed out that I really want to sew through, so it's perfect timing that I would want to do that one now. But yes, I'm gonna try that one. I've seen other people do it and had some really good success, and it kind of fits the bill on the oversized turtleneck that is, you know, I love my slim fitting turtlenecks and those aren't going anywhere, but I'd like to try an oversized one to see, number one, to see if I kind of like it on my body and how I really like the way that that fits. So that was my first one that I'm going to try. Second one, basically when I went through all of these pinned images and I was looking, I'm just really drawn to a classic blouse. I mean, that's just all there is to it. And I really am into, I really want to play with chocolate browns this season. And chocolate browns are really in this season. Sometimes they can be hard to find. You can find a lot of navy and black and gray, but not a lot of chocolate brown. And that's really my best neutral. So dark neutral. So I'm very excited to do a little bit of fabric shopping, and I really want to find some silk and a nice chocolate brown in order to make myself a button-up shirt. And I'm going to be trying out the Liesl & Co. classic shirt because that is one that I own and I have not yet had a chance to try it out, but it does have cup sizes and I'm just really looking forward to trying to make that up. But basically I just really want a nice tailored but in a soft fabric so that it will look a little bit softer. But I'm all about a nice button-down shirt, and who doesn't want a nice silk button-down? You know, I mean, I feel like it might be a little bit trickier to sew, but that's what starch is for. And so I'm just gonna really, I think I'm just gonna go for it and make myself a very comfortable, hopefully silk charmeuse chocolate brown button-up. So that was kind of the idea there, and that was the shirt that I picked to go with that, because again, I just tend to go more classic. So it's not a very exciting pick of stuff that I looked for, but again, everything that I was looking, it was definitely a base piece, and I could use a classic piece like that in a luxurious fabric. I think that that would serve my wardrobe completely very well. So that's why I picked that one. And then for my third top, I wanted to do something kind of fun and different and a nod to trends. And as we all know, smocking has been just out of this world since the beginning of summer, and it's continuing on into the fall season as well. I also think that smocking often has a nod towards the summer months, and I think that it's fun to kind of play around with that and turn it into a fall and autumn wardrobe. So I have picked the Mimi Woven Blouse by Style Art Patterns. It has some smocking on the sleeve, and I just think that this is just amazing. I would also like to do this one in kind of a more luxurious fabric, but I may end up just using a rayon challis. I do want something with drape because I do just want a boxier, I'm not boxy. I mean, it's a pretty simple top. It just has a really fun sleeve on it. So it kind of takes a woven t-shirt and takes it up a notch, kind of. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what my fabric budget allows. But I would love definitely something drapey. But I think that this would tuck into the skirt and the pants beautifully. And it would also look amazing under a pair of skinny overalls. So I was going back and forth. I really do want to try the Sew House 7 Burnside bibs. I've just seen so many beautiful iterations of that pattern. But as I was going through and looking through Pinterest, I noticed that I'd pinned quite a few pairs of skinnier overalls. So basically like a skinny jean with a bib. And I really, really, really like the juxtaposition of something a little bit more oversized underneath it. And then obviously you can definitely pair things over it, you know, cardigans and that kind of stuff. You can put a t-shirt on underneath it very easily. But I just thought that playing around with a skinnier pair of overalls with all three of those tops that I had picked would just be amazing, in addition to the stuff that I already have in my wardrobe. So I decided to go for the Tilly and the Buttons Mila dungarees. I actually already own this pattern as well, and it is also printed off with Copy Shop, and it's just sitting in a pile that it needs to be gone through. So number one, this is made out of a stretch woven, so like a denim, stretch denim, so comfortable. And I just think that it might be something kind of fun to play around with, because it kind of cheats the 2 bottoms rule, because you can kind of play around with this as a 3rd bottom, even though it is technically a 1 piece. But I think that layering things over it as well as under it would be just a lot of fun, and a lot of fun to play with this fall. So I'm gonna try out the Mila dungarees, and I think just a good old denim. I thought about doing something fun and a little bit, you know, like a corduroy or a stretch twill or something, or even a pattern, but I think I'm just gonna stick with a nice stretch denim. I've got some in my stash, so I'll be going through that to pick out something that will work really well. But yeah, I just really loved kind of the more oversized sweatery looks that they have paired underneath those. Now, they could look awful. Me putting that, you know, the oversized stuff on underneath the overalls might not look good on me because I am busty, but you know, you don't know until you try, and I don't think that there's any losing out. You know, if I decide I don't like those paired together, I have plenty of fitted things that I can definitely pair with them, so I don't think there's a risk in making them. I think that it would be just a lot of fun, and you don't know until you try if you like the different pieces together or not. So there you have it. That is kind of my thought process and how I went through picking my 7 pieces for my module. And don't get overwhelmed. Just stick with, you know, if you find that you're more drawn to tops, go ahead and pick out 3 tops you really want to make, and then you can think about maybe 2 bottoms you'd like to pair with those. And then just throw in a dress and a cardigan or whatever. I find that once you've picked the bottoms and the tops, then it's kind of easier to pick the topper, because sometimes, you know, you may want a cropped jacket for certain silhouettes, whereas maybe you want something more long and slouchy for others. So I find that I usually pick the topper last. But yeah, I think that it's going to be, all those silhouettes are going to go really well together, and I will be sketching them out to make sure. And if I want to make any changes, and again, we'll be talking more about my plans later on. Okay, that's all I have for today. It was a very chatty video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and are you guys starting to kind of start planning out your work from home modules as well? Don't forget to use the hashtag when you're posting your stuff on Instagram, and we want to see all parts of it. And also don't forget to check out the other 2 challenges I talked about. I think that they just marry really well with what we're doing here on the channel. And yeah, find some new people on Instagram as well to follow for more inspiration. That's another great place to look for inspiration. All right, that's all I have for today. Next Tuesday, we'll be going over fabrics and colors like I mentioned. We'll also be talking about, I'm gonna expand a little bit more than I did back in the spring. I'm gonna be talking about items, I'll be showing at the very end, items that are currently in my closet that I'll be bringing back in. So the final lookbook will be more than just these 6 pieces or 7 pieces. It'll be, not my whole fall wardrobe, because that might be a little intense, but I'll definitely be pairing all those pieces with stuff that's already in my fall wardrobe. But I'm also going to be talking, like I said, about thrifting, about upcycling, about how we can do that, and some projects that I'm kind of planning that will still go with a lot of the stuff that I'm making in these modules, and also talking about purchases. So I'm actually going to be purchasing a few things for my fall wardrobe, and so we'll be talking about that a little bit as well, and how to make good purchases without being wasteful. I know that a lot of us love to make everything that we make, and there are a few things that I just prefer to buy. Not a lot in the clothing realm. Mostly it's shoes and accessories, but yeah, when I can find thrifted, or secondhand, I love to do that as well. So we'll be having a video dedicated to that as well, and I'll be talking about my shoes I'm adding in. Okay, guys, that's all I've got for today. Let's see. Tomorrow is not going to be a weekly vlog. Tomorrow is an exciting pattern release, so you probably have seen it already today, or if not, it'll be coming up today for an Itch to Stitch pattern, and so I'll be doing a review of that pattern on Wednesday. Mostly I needed a break from the weekly vlog. I had, if you guys are following along at all, yeah, getting my kids back into a routine, getting myself into a routine, and figuring all that got a little intense, so... I took a week off of vlogging, but I will have a video on Wednesday. It'll be that pattern release for that Itch to Stitch dress. And then Friday, I've got the reveal of my daughter's first module that I made for her back to school wardrobe. So we've got just six pieces that we're showing for her. She's not as big into the dresses, so 2 bottoms, 3 tops, and a jacket for her. So that will be on Friday if you've been waiting to see that. All right, and then Sunday we start our actually sewing on our sew-along dress, which is a shirt dress that we're doing. All right, guys, that's all I've got for today. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Happy sewing, and I will see you again soon. Bye.